I never expected to become invisible in my own home. But over the years, it happened so gradually that I barely noticed, until the night of my son's celebration. That night, everything changed. From the moment I married Andrew, I knew he had big dreams. He wanted to be a lawyer, to build a name for himself, and I supported him every step of the way. When our son, Nathan, was born, I put my own dreams aside without a second thought. My life became about raising him, managing the household, and ensuring everything ran smoothly so Andrew could focus on his career. Years passed in a blur of sleepless nights, school projects, and whispered words of encouragement during difficult times. I was always there, always the one to patch scraped knees, to cheer from the sidelines, to comfort Nathan when he doubted himself. Meanwhile, Andrew buried himself in work, missing dinner after dinner, birthday after birthday. I told myself it was necessary. He was building a future for us. But as Nathan grew older, something changed. He started looking up to his father, seeing him as a mentor and a role model. The two of them would spend hours discussing legal cases and strategies, a language I didn't understand. Our dinner conversations shifted, revolving around topics I had no place in. I smiled through it, pretending it didn't hurt. Then came the night that shattered the illusion. Nathan's graduation was one of the proudest moments of my life. Watching him walk across the stage, diploma in hand, I felt an overwhelming sense of fulfillment. This was what all those sleepless nights had led to, my son's success. That evening, we had a small family dinner to celebrate. It was just the three of us at home, a rare occasion these days. Nathan was excited, talking about his future at Andrew's firm, and Andrew, for once, seemed relaxed. Then, as we cleared the table, Andrew casually mentioned it. "I'm hosting a party for Nathan's promotion to junior lawyer," he said, sipping his wine. "Tomorrow night after work. The whole firm will be there." I smiled, assuming he meant we would be there. "That sounds wonderful." Andrew glanced at me. "Well, I figured you wouldn't want to come. You're not really involved in office matters." I froze. His words hit me like a slap. Nathan hesitated, his expression shifting. "Dad, Mom should be there." Andrew shrugged. "It's more of a professional thing." Then, as if to soften the blow, he added, "It'll be late anyway, and I know you don't like these kinds of events." I wanted to argue, to demand an invitation, but the lump in my throat stopped me. Instead, I simply nodded, forcing a tight-lipped smile. I wouldn't beg to be included in my own son's success. That night, I lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, the weight of years of sacrifice pressing down on me. I had never done any of this for recognition. I had supported my family because I loved them. But now, it was as if I didn't even exist. As I listened to Andrew's steady breathing beside me, a thought took root in my mind. I wasn't going to sit at home forgotten. I was going to that party. The next day passed in a haze. Andrew and Nathan left early, excited for the evening ahead, while I busied myself with household chores, trying to ignore the tight knot in my chest. But as the sun began to set, restlessness consumed me. I needed to be there, to witness this moment with my own eyes. With careful hands, I picked out a dress, elegant but not flashy. I wasn't going to make a scene. I just wanted to see my son being honored. The restaurant was grander than I expected. Through the tall glass windows, I could see the hall already bustling with laughter and conversation. My stomach twisted, but I forced myself forward. Stepping inside, I kept to the edges, staying in the shadows. No one noticed me. The room was alive with chatter, glasses clinking, people in suits and gowns congratulating my husband and my son. And then I saw them, Andrew and Nathan, standing in the center, surrounded by partners and associates. Andrew was speaking, his voice filled with pride. "Nathan has always been destined for this. He's brilliant, hardworking. It's in his blood." The crowd murmured in agreement, lifting their glasses. I stood frozen. In his blood? I swallowed the sting of those words. Did Andrew really believe Nathan's success came only from him? Did he not see the years I spent by our son's side, guiding him, supporting him, being there when Andrew wasn't? A lump formed in my throat, but I stayed silent, watching. Then, suddenly, Nathan's eyes met mine. His smile faltered. Confusion flickered across his face, followed by realization. And then, without hesitation, He left the group and walked straight toward me. Mom? Nathan's voice was filled with disbelief, but also something else, relief. I barely had time to react before he wrapped me in a hug, holding me tightly. The warmth of his embrace sent a crack through the icy loneliness I had been feeling. The room fell silent. People turned, curious about the unexpected interruption. Whispers spread. Who is that? That's Nathan's mother. Andrew, standing frozen among his colleagues, looked visibly uncomfortable. His gaze darted away, his jaw tightening. Nathan pulled back slightly, keeping his hands on my shoulders. His voice, thick with emotion, carried through the silent hall. I want to take a moment to honor someone who should have been recognized from the start, my mother, Evelyn. A hush fell over the crowd. Nathan continued, his voice unwavering. She's the reason I'm here today. She's the one who stayed up with me during late-night study sessions. She's the one who supported me through every doubt and fear. She may not be a lawyer, but she is the foundation of everything I've achieved. A murmur of agreement rippled through the room. Glasses were raised, nods of respect exchanged. I felt my eyes well with tears. For the first time in years, I wasn't invisible. Andrew, still standing stiffly, reluctantly lifted his glass, but he couldn't meet my eyes. The rest of the night, I stayed by Nathan's side, surrounded by people who suddenly saw me in a new light. Guests came up, offering kind words, expressing their surprise at how much I had contributed to my son's journey. But one thought lingered in my mind. Why had it taken so long for my own husband to see me? By the time we got home, the house was silent, but the air between us was heavy with unspoken words. Nathan walked in first, his steps quick and tense. I followed, my heart still pounding from the events of the evening. Behind me, Andrew shut the door, letting out a slow sigh. Nathan turned to face his father, his expression unreadable. Dad, how could you not invite Mom? Andrew rubbed the back of his neck. I didn't think she'd be interested. The party was about your career, Nathan. About law. Nathan scoffed. You really don't get it, do you? Mom might not be a lawyer, but she's the reason I am one. You talk about my natural talent, as if I was just born into this, but Mom was the one who helped me get here. She was there when you weren't. Andrew stiffened, but he said nothing. Nathan wasn't done. She wasn't just some spectator in my life, Dad. She was the foundation. The words cut through the air like a knife. I saw Andrew flinch, as if only now understanding something that should have been obvious all along. Nathan shook his head, his frustration clear. Good night. Without another word, he turned and disappeared into his room, leaving Andrew and me standing in the dimly lit hallway. Andrew exhaled, rubbing his face. Evelyn, But I didn't want to hear excuses. Not tonight. I'm going to bed, Andrew. I walked past him, feeling something shift inside me. For the first time in years, I wasn't waiting for his approval. The next morning, I woke up feeling different. Lighter. Stronger. Something had changed in me last night. Maybe it was Nathan's words. Maybe it was the way people had finally seen me, not just as Andrew's wife, not just as Nathan's mother, but as me. After making my morning coffee, I sat at the kitchen table with a blank sheet of paper. And then, for the first time in years, I wrote down my own dreams. Go back to school. I had always wanted to study psychology, but I had given up on that dream to support Andrew's career and raise Nathan. But why couldn't I still do it? Travel. I couldn't remember the last time I had gone somewhere for myself. Learn photography. Take piano lessons. Join a volunteer group. The list kept growing, filled with long-buried wishes. It felt almost strange to put myself first, but as I looked at that list, a spark of excitement ignited in my chest. Lost in thought, I didn't notice Andrew walk in. He stopped, his eyes landing on the paper. What's this? I hesitated for only a moment before meeting his gaze. My future. Andrew picked up the list, his eyes scanning the words. When he finally looked at me, there was something in his expression I hadn't seen in a long time, regret, maybe even admiration. Have these dreams been here all along? I nodded. They have. A silence stretched between us before he asked the question I never expected. How can I help you? For the first time in years, Andrew was asking about me. I let out a breath, still unsure if I believed his sincerity, but a part of me wanted to. We can start by looking at college options, I said cautiously. He nodded. Okay. I studied him, searching for any sign of dismissal or indifference. But instead, I saw something else. Understanding. Maybe even guilt. Maybe this was his way of making up for all the years he had overlooked me. Maybe this was the beginning of something new. Over the next few days, something surprising happened. Andrew changed. Not in some grand, dramatic way, but in small, quiet moments. He started coming home earlier. He asked about my plans. And when I showed him college programs I was considering, he actually listened. It felt strange at first. After years of being invisible, suddenly being seen was almost unsettling. Nathan noticed too. One night at dinner, he smirked. "You're really trying, huh, Dad?" Andrew sighed. "I am." I watched him, still uncertain. But there was something undeniably different. Maybe people could change. One afternoon, I finally did it. I applied for a psychology program. The moment I clicked submit, my heart raced. I had spent so many years supporting everyone else. Now, for the first time, I was doing something for me. That evening, Andrew found me in the living room, a soft smile on his face. "I talked to my assistant today," he said. "I'm adjusting my schedule. I want to be home more." I studied him carefully. Why? He hesitated before answering. "Because I don't want to miss any more important moments." It wasn't an apology, not exactly. But maybe it didn't need to be. Maybe this was enough. Weeks passed. My classes were starting soon, and for the first time in years, I felt truly excited about the future. One evening, Nathan walked into the kitchen, holding a small box. "What's this?" I asked. He grinned. "A gift." Inside was a beautiful leather notebook. On the first page, he had written, "For the woman who made everything possible. This time, it's your turn to chase your dreams." Tears welled in my eyes as I pulled him into a hug. Andrew stood nearby, watching quietly. When I met his gaze, he gave me a small nod, a silent acknowledgement of everything we had been through. That night, we had dinner as a family. No grand parties, no speeches, just the three of us together. And for the first time, I felt like I was truly part of the celebration. Because this time, the moment belonged to me too.